Hi, I'm Tori, and I'm here to talk to you today about how you can build a modern compliance strategy for your observability data, specifically how you can use Datadog's robust tools for sensitive data management. So, how many of you have had to manage the fallout from a PII leak? You might have had to scramble to assess the blast radius and figure out, which teams and services are being impacted, whether your customers are being impacted. Maybe you had to lock down your data while you plugged the leak so that no employee could access that, but that proved to be a productivity blocker for them. So this kind of a thing, this kind of a sensitive data leak, is actually pretty common, and companies don't always have the right tools to manage it when it does. And this was the case for one of our customers in the banking space. Let's call them Acme Bank for anonymity. They were a traditional customer that had been around for decades, and they were undergoing a cloud transformation. And because they were in a highly regulated industry, they had to comply to many strict security and compliance regulations like GDPR, PCI, CCPA, and more. And they had very complex systems. They had hundreds of distributed teams and thousands of microservices and many loosely connected endpoints across which they were sending terabytes of data every single day. But despite how much data this bank had to manage and how big their organization was, they had a very small monitoring team of only 5 site reliability engineers, or SREs. And so this small team not only had to manage their main engineering and operations work, but they also had to enforce that strict compliance across all of their observability data. And they had faced a few challenges with this so far because of the organizational silos that had been set up. Challenges such as poor collaboration between teams, a lack of visibility into all of their data, and also during sensitive data leaks, difficulty remediating that. And so the first problem was really that this SRE team was not in communication with the compliance teams. And so there was a lack of important knowledge sharing on what exactly it meant for their company to be compliant to all of the laws and regulations, and what information it was acceptable for them to log in the first place. And because there were so many distributed teams, this main SRE team also had very little visibility and control over all of the information being logged throughout all of their services. And so it was not easy for them to know when their services were storing or leaking sensitive data. And because they did not have a central place to access all of their data, they were going around and instrumenting detection rules in a bunch of different places, resulting in redundancy and conflicts, and worse, missing rules where there should have been. And so they were not at all confident that they would be able to respond and catch sensitive data leaks quickly when they happened. Not to mention, when these leaks happened, it was hard for them to know who exactly was being impacted, which teams, which customers, which partners, who was responsible for the leak, and how to fix the leak. Did they have to redact all the data? Did they have to block access to it? These questions were not easy to answer with the system that they had in place. And so this SRE team was getting more and more nervous as their company continued to undergo this cloud transformation and onboard new data sources and integrate with new APIs, that they were not having full control over all of their data. And so risked losing money due to not meeting their compliance requirements during leaks, and during leaks, risked their reputation being damaged, right? And so how did Acme Bank solve this problem with Datadog? Well, this is not a problem that we've only seen with this one customer in the banking space. We've seen this problem across various sizes of customers, across geographies and industries. And one common theme that we've seen arise is that it is becoming increasingly important for SRE teams to maintain compliance of all of their observability data in a single place. And Datadog provides a couple of tools that help teams to do this, namely the sensitive data scanner and log management role-based access controls. So starting with the sensitive data scanner, this is a stream-based pattern matching service that helps you to discover, classify, and protect your sensitive data regardless of its source. All Datadog customers can find it under organization settings under the compliance section. And currently, we only provide real-time visibility into the information being logged, but we are expanding support for RUM events and APM ingested spans soon. So how did Acme Bank get started with this? Well, first of all, they took all of their data and categorized it into different scanning groups. And then they were able to apply scanning rules to each of these scanning groups. So, for example, You can see here that they decided to apply API key and access key scanners to their production logs. But they didn't have to sit around and like figure out how to write these rules out of the gate. They were able to make use of our scanning rules library, where we have a bunch of pre-configured rules for common sensitive data patterns such as cloud provider secret keys, credit card numbers, and so on. And in the cases where they actually wanted to write their own business-specific scanning rules, they could do that by simply inputting their own regex pattern, like there. And then when they wanted to, they could also classify the sensitive data using searchable tags as high, medium, or low risk, or whatever other kinds of tags you would want to add, and then choose from our built-in remediation actions to either scrub the data or hash it so that it can still be used for analytics and auditing purposes. And so, for example, if Acme Bank had set up a scanning rule on AWS access keys on CloudTrail logs, any user that navigated to the Log Explorer and opened up a CloudTrail log would see just placeholder text replacing that access key. Also, we have the sensitive data scanner dashboard that Acme Bank was able to instantly get started using to see their top sources and services leaking sensitive data, and also the frequency of the types of sensitive data that were being leaked in their logs. So the sensitive data scanner really provided a central place in their app where the SRE team was able to partner with the compliance teams in collaborating on all of the compliance measures being applied on all of their data. And so they were also able to take remediation actions quickly during sensitive data leaks. And not to mention, it was really easy to use and set up regardless of technical ability. In addition to the sensitive data scanner, Acme Bank also made use of log management role-based access controls. And what they did was they navigated to roles under organization settings as well, created their own custom roles, and then after that went to the logs data access page where they were able to assign these roles to certain restriction queries, right? And restriction queries are logs queries that basically scope the access, scope the set of logs that users with these roles are able to access. They operate at query time, so any user with roles with restriction queries, when they make their own logs queries, the only logs that will be returned will be logs that also match these restriction queries. So in the case where sensitive data is leaking in your logs, and most users should not be able to see it, but some users still need it for their operational day-to-day, your SRE teams can then go and decide, I'm going to assign this role to see these logs, and that's it. And so with the sensitive data scanner and log management RBAC, Acme Bank had help reducing the mean time to resolution during sensitive data leaks. They were able to mitigate the financial and regulatory impact from these leaks. And after the fact, it was easier for them to then go on and generate reports for their auditors. And overall, it helped them really build out a compliance strategy that was robust for all of their observability data. Datadog's monitoring tools have proven to work at scale for some of our most sensitive customers in the most regulated industries where maintaining compliance is of utmost importance. So get started today by building out your own modern compliance strategy. The sensitive data scanner and log management RBAC are both generally available, so reach out to your Datadog representative to get started today. Thank you.